This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted as always to be joined by my friend, Mr. Richard Schaefer. Richard, how are you, first of all?
Excellent, and first of all, happy New Year to you, your family, and all the fight fans from the UK and from around the world which listen to your show. Happy to be on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy New Year. I don't know what part of the month do we stop saying it to people, but I think it's, if you haven't seen them, then you can say it. Yes.
Yeah, it's still January, so.
I see you brought your bodyguard with you behind you there, Richard.
Yeah, he's right there. He's there. So I'm actually very well protected, between Bernard Hopkins and Floyd Mayweather looking over my shoulder. And then we have Floyd and Maidana. And then, of course, it wouldn't be complete with the great Ricky Hatton from the fight when he fought Paulie Malignaggi. So I feel well protected.
Okay. Yeah, Richard, I wanted to start off by just having, a recap from December. We know you wasn't able to attend the Probellum show. We spoke at the Combat Chain event the week after, but just the feedback you got from Sonny Edwards' successful world title defense against Jason Mama, but just as a whole, how did the show go from what you've heard from your team at Probellum?
Well, it was a success. We had a great turnout, a great show, and we're really building together with Ahmed Siddiqui, with D4G, the Middle East and particularly Dubai into a fight destination. And I think we're getting there, one fight, one card at a time. It was a great fight. It was well received. It was a first-class setup. I was watching it here in Los Angeles because I had the same day or the day after, I had Nonito Donaire fight for the world title here in Carson, California. So I had to be here. But it was a first-class setup. The fans liked it. The VIP area was probably the best VIP area that ever existed in boxing. It was a first-class event, a first-class setup, and certainly a first-class production. I watched it here in Los Angeles and had no transmission problems and no problems whatsoever. It was a great and successful night. That is why we announced this week initially we announced one card, and then it was so warmly embraced by fight fans, and we decided to add a second one. So we're going to have the 1-2 punch from Dubai on March 18th and the 19th. Two great nights of boxing, celebrating boxing, but celebrating St. Patrick's Day in Dubai as well. So Dubai is really slowly becoming what I think it has the potential to be, the new fight capital of the world.
Just touching on, you were talking about Ahmed Siddiqui there, who's spent the last 2 or 3 years kind of building that foundation for boxing in the UAE very successfully as well. And I think now we're seeing kind of the scale of what's happening now with world title fights coming to Dubai. This is only just the start, isn't it, for boxing in Dubai?
Oh, absolutely. Look, for those who have been in Dubai, they understand why more and more of these world title fights are coming there. And those who haven't been there, they should really go, because Dubai, everything about Dubai is first class. The restaurants, the hotels, the travel, the whole, it's clean, it's safe. And when being safe is with everything else going on around the world is a big thing. And there's no other place in the world where I feel safer than in Dubai. So it's just really a first-class destination. And I really think Ahmed has done an amazing job. Very passionate about the sport. Ahmed, as you probably know, is on the advisory board of Probellum as well. And there is no way boxing would be in Dubai anywhere close if it wouldn't be for him. So he really is the pioneer there, the trailblazer. And I'm sure fight fans from around the world say a big thank you to Ahmed Siddiqui.
Absolutely. Let's come on to what you were just previously talking about there, the double header in Dubai on the 18th of March and the 19th of March. Let's start with the first show on the 18th. Someone I know you're very excited about, one of your recent signings in Estelle Mosse. Talk to me about her.
Well, I've known Estelle for a long time. As you know, I promoted for some time Tony Oka, her ex-husband, and they got a divorce sometime late part of last year. And I was always a big fan of Estelle. She really is the gold standard when it comes to female boxing. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She's a single mother, raising 2 kids, and is sort of like the golden girl of France, you know. And I think she has, from a style point of view, she has an amazing style. She's not like the biggest knockout puncher, nor was Floyd Mayweather. And in many ways, she sort of like is the Floyd Mayweather of female boxing from a skill point of view. And so I'm very excited about her. I think she is she's in a great weight class as well, same weight class, lightweight, where Katie Taylor is in as well. For those who know Estelle, they know as well that actually Estelle beat Katie Taylor in the Amateur World Championships in the semifinal back in 2016. And then Estelle went on to not only become Amateur World Champion in 2016, but the same year in Rio, Olympic champion. She's 9-0 now, and she is, she doesn't shy away from any tasks. Basically, the tougher the opponents, the more she gets excited. So when I suggested to her the number 1 or 2 ranked lightweight fighter in the world, Janina Del Carmen, she didn't hesitate a second. She says, yeah, okay, great, let's get it done. So it's going to be a very meaningful fight in that lightweight division. But what is really the most meaningful thing is that this is history being made. This is the first female world championship fight. She's the IBO champion. And it's the first time that a female fighter is headlining a boxing card in the Middle East. So this is really a historic event. And this is exactly the kind of events and the kind of history Probellum wants to put together. And so we are really thrilled about Estelle being with Probellum, Estelle breaking, making history in the Middle East. And hopefully after that, if everything goes well, I want to bring her to the UK. I discussed that with her already, and have her have 1 fight in the UK. And then I'll talk to my good friend Eddie to see if we can get that fight done between Estelle and Katie Taylor.
I mean, they've just announced today a fight that, just as a fight fan, we've all been looking forward to, the fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, April the 30th at Madison Square Garden. And that's a great fight, isn't it? I know, obviously, it's not your fight, Richard, but just as a fan, you must like that fight.
It's a great fight. It's a great fight. And, Estelle fits right into that weight class. She'll fight anyone. So this is a great fight. And I think that will be, at the time, in my opinion, the biggest female fight which can be made. And then once Estelle is there and is fighting the winner, I think that's going to be breaking records. I mean, I can see that with these with their Olympic background and everything, and the story they already have. I mean, there's some great big fights in female boxing, and I love it. I think this is really, these last 12 months, really, for female boxing, they have taken female boxing to the next level, and it's about time.
Also featuring on the card, and it couldn't be St. Patrick's weekend without John Ocarroll being involved. He's obviously on the card on the Friday night as well. So, yeah, you have to have had an Irish element there somewhere, and obviously John Ocarroll fits the bill there perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have him there. And there'll be many other fighters from Ireland, Irish fighters will be on the card. So we really want to make it a celebration in Dubai for St. Patrick's Day as well. And what better way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Dubai? It's the best time of the year, March. It's beautiful. And, I think there's some great flights from Ireland and from the UK to Dubai, cheap rates. The tickets are very affordable. And we have that 1-2 punch. So you're not only going for one night of boxing, but you go for 2 nights of boxing. I mean, it's like the perfect setup to celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Dubai. and be part of history.
Absolutely. Let's come on to the day after, and two really good events, main and co-main events put on this card. Obviously, headlining Sonny Edwards takes on Mohammed Wasim, who's a huge star in Pakistan, obviously trained by Danny Vaughan. That's a very interesting fight. But the fight there between Regis Prograis and Tyrone McKenna has got an absolute war written all over it, Richard.
Oh, absolutely. I talked to Regis. He's so fired up, really wants to put on a show. And this is going to be one of those fights you want to be there in your seat, and you want to be ready for that. It's going to be an amazing fight. Regis Prograis, look, in my books, is one of the most promotable fighters in the world. I mean, he can fight. He has charisma. His ring walks are legendary. So he really is the total package, and I'm so pleased and thrilled to have him as part of Probellum, to be able to promote him, and even more so to bring him to Dubai. He will be world champion again. I have no question about it. And I'm working behind the scenes on some news as well about that fight. So we'll see what I can pull off. Regis deserves to get another title shot.
Interesting comments there, Richard. I'm sure you'll let us know in due course.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, two double header, shall we say, in Dubai that weekend. And I think if you're there, you might as well come to both of them because, and the venue is the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Stadium. I mean, I'm not too familiar with that venue. Richard, what can you tell us about that?
It's like, many of the tennis stadiums actually convert beautifully as a boxing venue. And so it really is, there's no bad seat in the house because for those who have been to tennis matches or I've seen it, they're pretty steep, pitches. And so it's a beautiful setup. It's very clean. It's safe. It's an absolute first-class venue. I've done many events here in Los Angeles at the tennis stadium here. They call them the war grounds. These venues, they're like built for boxing really, and they seem to bring out the extra excitement in the fighters, and they usually deliver great fights. So I think it will be a great venue, a safe venue. And as I said, the tickets, they're like, I don't know, like $10, $15, $20, something like that. They're very inexpensive. So it's a very affordable entry to come and see those two events. I will be there. We will be promoting these fights there. I really can't wait because each card, by the way, has 10 fights. It's going to be at least 10. One of them might actually have 11 or 12. And I was counting the other day how many nationalities are going to be on that cards. And it's going to be like the United Nations. There's like 20 fighters from 20 different countries, which shows you the global reach of Probellum and how we want to make Dubai truly a global destination for boxing, where the fight fans in and around Dubai and the visitors and those who are going to make the special trip to be there can really see some of the best young talent and some of the more established talent and world championship fights. And so you get a little bit of everything. Who is going to be fighting as well is the Olympic gold medalist, Jalolov. He is going to be on the card again. So Olympic gold medalist, super heavyweight. So he's going to be there. So it's a little bit of everything. Young guys, experienced guys, world champions, former world champions. A great mix, two great nights in Dubai.
We look forward to that. And that's March 18th and March 19th. Richard, in a very short space of time, Probellum has signed a variety of different fighters. Some guys kind of in the peak of their careers, some towards the end of their careers, young up-and-coming guys. You've kind of done a variety with your signings there. But I'm assuming you've got more signings to come, Richard, over the next sort of weeks and months.
Absolutely. We're very proud of the stable we have put together. And I think it shows as well that we are here to give opportunities, whether you are one of the most exciting young fighters in the world, one of the most sought after, certainly future world champions. As an example, I gave you the McCormack twins. They're just amazing young fighters which are turning pro. And then you have former world champions, and I can mention there Ricky Burns, for example, where you still give an opportunity, you know. And I'm actually, this is something which is very important to me, to give former world champions who might have been written off by many another opportunity. And I mean, we talked about Bernard Hopkins. I promoted his last chapter of his career, and his last chapter of his career was from a legacy point of view, but from a financial point of view, the most rewarding chapter. Another example, which is a fighter which we signed to Probellum, is Nonito Donaire. Another one which was released by another promoter after a loss. I believed in Nonito, and since he's been with us, he had probably the best financially and the best part of his career. And so Probellum is here to give opportunities. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, and where you stand in your career. We are here to give fighters opportunities. We can't fight the fights, but we can give them the opportunities. And that is very important to us. And particularly in the UK market as well, but really globally. I'm really proud of the stable we have put together already in the UK. You have to remember, we've only been in business 4 months. I mean, 4 months. This is unheard of, that in a matter of 4 months, not just boxing, but combat sports business has achieved so much in such short period of time. You know, when we said when I gave the interview with you as well and with others, and when we launched Probellum back in September, we said sort of like, we want to have a global platform. We want to work with everybody. We want to unify promoters. And our goal is to be in the first year, have the Probellum brand involved in like 200 events. And everybody was sort of like, yeah, right, it's probably Schaefer, you know, like over promising or like going crazy. But no, we delivered. We actually not just delivered, we over delivered. We executed already 25 partnership agreements with some of the leading promoters around the world, where we invest in their markets, where we invest in their business, and we unify those promoters. So what I said, we want to build bridges, not burn bridges, is exactly what we have done. Never happened before. Imagine 25 leading boxing promoters from around the world under one umbrella working together. We've done it, and we're not done. We're probably going to be close to 40 or 45 of them. And when I said we're going to have the Probellum brand involved in 200 events in 2022, everybody was like, yeah, it's crazy. You know what? Actually, it's going to be closer to 300 events than 200 events, based on those relationships and co-promotion agreements which we have already executed. Then you look at the fighters. I mean, the fighters we have signed, as I said, I think one of the best stables in the UK boxing already. Give us another year, we'll have the best stable. And globally as well, with reaches with Donaire, with Olympic gold medalist, super heavyweight, Jalolov, and many other fighters. We really have become a choice destination for fighters, because the fighters speak, they talk, and they realize that we are a fighter-first promotional entity, that we treat fighters right, that we want to empower them, educate them, and help them to make as much money as they can. So it really is amazing, all that after only 4 months. Can you imagine where we're going to be a year from now or 2 years from now?
Watch this space, as they say. Richard, what can you tell us about potential UK shows coming up with Probellum putting on?
Yes, we actually are going to have a really loaded card on March the 25th from Newcastle. We are working on finalizing the lineup, but Newcastle, our last show, was a big success, and we really represent the best talent from that region. And so we're looking at staging an unbelievable card which would include Lewis Ritson again, and Troy Williams, Thomas Patrick Ward, and then the professional debuts of Ben Rees and the professional debut from, I mentioned his name before, from one half of the twins, from Pat. And so it would just be a totally loaded card. And so we're working on putting the final touches on that, but that will be on March the 25th.
That's a
We're
Friday.
going to be very active.
Is it a Friday?
Yes.
March 25th, Friday. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Newcastle in March, and then anything else coming up?
Yeah, we're working on a few other dates. One in London, one in Scotland. So we're going to be very active in the UK. We are working as well to finalize, to put together a network, a media relationship there in the UK, and the same in the US. Actually, I had some extensive conversations yesterday. So we're looking at some potential platforms which will carry our events on a going forward basis, on a regular basis, so that Probellum and fight fans know this is the channel where you can see Probellum.
Well, you saved me a question, because that was going to be my next question regarding the broadcast situation with Probellum, but you've answered that. So again, we'll have to kind of wait and see how that works out.
Yep.
Are you glad to be back, Richard? You happy doing what you love doing?
Oh, I'm so happy. You know, you're in sort of like, you know how boxing is. Boxing is not a job. It's not like 9 to 5 and maybe a couple times a week you put in an extra hour for overtime. No, that doesn't work like that. Boxing is not a job. Boxing is a lifestyle, and you have to embrace that lifestyle. And frankly, so does your family. They have to embrace it as well, because it's hard work, but it's rewarding work, and I love it. You know, I really like it because with the people we have behind Probellum, starting with our chairman, with Ali Shamspur, who is really a visionary and very passionate about boxing, and an extremely successful businessman, it sort of like filters down from there with Harrison Whitman. As I said, I mentioned it to you before, he is one of the smartest guys I've ever met. So it's just an amazing team of people behind Probellum, and that is what makes it successful, and that is what makes it exciting for me. And we have so much more in store. I really have zero doubt that this will become the leading boxing promotion, global leading boxing promotion platform in the world. But by the way, not at the expense of others. Our goal is not to push. Our goal is not to push somebody away. We want to bring more fans to the sport. We want to elevate the sport. And for example, the Estelle Mosse headlining as the first female in the Middle East, this is bigger than just boxing. This is a story which will be in the New York Times. You know, this is like headlines, general market. That's what we want to do, is we want to create those headlines. We want to elevate the sport, bring more eyeballs to the sport, and branch out of the boxing media into all the other media, sports media and general market. So this is our goals, and I am so excited to be part of it. I'm passionate about it. You know that. You know that I like to do big events. I don't like to do small events because the amount of work is the same. So you might as well just focus on the big ones. And I am going to go aggressively after every promotional free agent. I'm not going to go and like try to get somebody's under contract. No. We are going to play nice, fair, and square. But our doors are open for any promotional free agent. And you've seen what I've done in the past with Golden Boy, where I combined the biggest group of talent that ever existed under one roof in the boxing game. And we are going to do that again, just bigger, more global. And it just keeps me going. Every day I'm like waking up excited on what's going on. And so I'm ready to go.
We'll look forward to it. Just before I let you go, Richard, just like to ask your opinion about this more. So obviously, when we was at the Combat Chain event back in December, a certain unified heavyweight champion was there in Alexander Usyk. I'm sure you've seen all this kind of back and forth. No one really knows what's going on regarding AJ Fury and Dillian Whyte and Usyk. I mean, what's your summary of what's going on regarding these heavyweights?
Well, you know, the good news is that we are living in an era of one of the best eras for heavyweight boxing. There's so many exciting matchups that can happen. So the talent is in the heavyweight division is very deep. And I think there's one guy, which is the king, the Gypsy King, which clearly rules supreme. I don't think anybody is going to be able to beat him. But still, it's when you see Tyson Fury, it's must-see TV. He is the best heavyweight, certainly of this era, maybe of any era. He is outspoken, he is entertaining, he is charismatic, and he can fight. I mean, and he goes down and he goes up, you know. I mean, it's just like so exciting. I think he's the most exciting fighter in the sport, period. So that's the good news with the heavyweight division. Deontay is still a great fighter, and so is Dillian Whyte, and so is Anthony Joshua. And Usyk's skill level is just unbelievable. I mean, he's like a master technician. So you have all these great talent. That's the good news. The bad news is that, unfortunately, boxing can't help itself. They're shooting themselves in the foot again. And instead of having headlines in a positive manner, they're headlines with the heavyweights in a negative manner, that they cannot get their shit together, you know, that they cannot, like, why can't they work out a step-aside deal? Why is that not possible? I mean, it's not like that the guy who steps aside is going to have to wait 10 years before he gets the shot. No, I mean, we're talking about doing it this year. So why can't you have the sport? I mean, this is how you elevate the sport, the world, the boxing world, the sports world, and the general market. Imagine the headlines: one fight, one champion for all 4 belts. It doesn't get bigger than that. The heavyweight division, we need to do that. The promoters need to do that. You from the media have to push, and the fighters have to push, that the next heavyweight fight we see is Fury versus Usyk. And AJ deserves to get a crack at the next one in line, and after that, Dillian Whyte. You know, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. And yet, the negativity, everything you read about the heavyweights is about that, at least here in the US, I don't know how if it's in the UK, that they don't get their shit together, and this is a joke, and it's a circus, and one day you read this, and then you read that, and then this guy says this, and that guy says, it's like a circus. It's not a good look for boxing. It's not a good look for boxing. And those guys who are stakeholders in the sport, the promoters, the fighters, the whoever, they should really sit in a room, sit on the table, and work their thing out. And again, I really don't think it's difficult. And I just can't understand why we cannot just have one champion.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will echo those thoughts, Richard. It just seems like what you said. It is a bit of a circus. We hear one thing yesterday, and today we hear something different. Last week it was something different. It's like, it's confusing for people in boxing. So you can imagine people kind of watching from the outside, not really being able to work out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, but it's, by the way, it's not just now. I mean, the heavyweight division, from a talent point of view, fantastic. But the heavyweight division has been a circus for the past, 3 years or so, going back to Fury and Wilder and all these things going on, and yes and no and this and that, and then it's agree, and then there is the lawsuit, and there is it's like a circus. It's a total circus. And people see that more, frankly, than the talent. And that is making more headlines than the actual fights. And that is not good for the sport of boxing.
Well, I think the next installment is going to be tomorrow. If these purse bids happen, who knows? There'll probably be another delay. Who knows? But Richard, just before I let you go, just just finish off by saying it's going to be a very exciting year this year for Probellum. You're going to be your first full year. We know obviously you started towards the back end of 2021, but this being your full first competitive year, this has got to be a big year for you.
Absolutely. As I said, we're very excited to where we are as it relates to what we have put together, our stable, our events, our production team, our PR team. I mean, all the, in the beginning, it's like building the foundations, like building a house. And I think we have built in those first 4 months an extremely strong foundation. So we are very well prepared to deliver in 22 and beyond the best and biggest fights from around the world to fight fans. So I really encourage everyone to follow us and follow Probellum, be part. I mean, Probellum is really a movement in boxing. And so I encourage everyone to follow the movement, be part of the movement, and try together to elevate the sport of boxing. That's what we want to do. And we will do our part by putting together great and exciting matches from all around the world.
We'll look forward to it. And we'll look forward to, again, March 18th and 19th, double header. What did you call it, Richard? The 1-2 punch.
The 1-2 punch from Dubai, yes, the 1-2 punch from Dubai. I mean, imagine that. You're going to be able, in a matter of 2 days, without traveling from one place to the other, you can see over 20 fights. 20 fights. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And the ticket prices are like almost nothing. So, and it's St. Patrick's Day. I mean, come on, what other better place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Got to come to Dubai. And then you're going to see Estelle Mosse, the first female to fight on a headliner, a world title fight in the Middle East. That's the kind of historic event you want to be able to be part of. And you want to be able to say, you know what? I was there when she fought in the Middle East, and it was the first female fight. It's the kind of history-making moments, and you can be there and be there. And if you can't be there in person, make sure you watch it.
Absolutely. Richard, thank you very much for your time. Evening time here. What time is it where you are, Richard?
Let's see. It's 12:05 now, 12:04 here now. So it's like lunchtime.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock here in the UK. So yes, appreciate your time. We'll definitely catch up fight week in Dubai, and we'll have kind of a recap of what's been going on, and you can fill us in on everything that's been going on Probellum.
Yeah, there will be much more news then, and then from there, so I'm obviously going to be there all week, and then from there I'm going to take the plane. I'm going to go to Newcastle, so I will be in Newcastle for the March 25th show as well. It's very important to me to be there for these fighters and promote them. So I'll be in Newcastle.
We look forward to it. Richard, thank you very much. And like I said, we'll catch up with you in a few weeks.
Excellent. Thank you. All the best. See you soon.